All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to look at some of the most common things you probably have in your kitchen right now, and we're going to see them in a completely new light. We're talking about ancient plants, sure, but more importantly, the ancient wisdom behind them. I mean, really think about it. There are dozens of things you interact with daily. You use them, but you don't really give them a second thought, do you? You don't really think about where they came from or what they were truly for. And here's the fascinating part. It's not because they're super complicated or anything. It's the total opposite. They're just too common. So familiar that they've pretty much become invisible to our curiosity. And that's just human nature, isn't it? Once something becomes part of the background, we just stop asking questions. We assume we get it. An onion is an onion, an olive is an olive, and that's that. But what if that whole assumption is, well, wrong? What if the ancient people who first grew these plants saw them as something so much bigger than just a meal? That's the key word right there. Systems. They weren't just ingredients. They were entire systems designed for health, for stability, even for wealth. The plant itself was just the entry point to a much bigger idea. So let's really dig into this idea. Let's get past our modern view of food as just fuel and start looking at these plants as the powerful, complex systems they were always meant to be. So what is a plant system? It's when you see a plant not just for a quick meal, but for its long-term value. It's about building a foundation for life, whether that's for your own body or for an entire society. Okay, so let's jump into our first big idea. Plants that were literally the bedrock of civilization. This is all about stability, not the latest trends. We're going to look at a few cornerstones here: barley, wheat, grapes, and lentils, to really get how they provided the consistency that you need to build entire societies. Now, let's be honest, nobody gets hyped up about barley. You're not going to see it trending on TikTok. But its boring quality was actually its superpower. It was just reliable. And that reliability creates stability. See, when you know for sure where your food is coming from year after year, you can finally stop thinking just about survival. You can start to plan, to build, to create. And that really gets to a core idea here. You don't build a lasting society on the newest superfood craze. You build it on the steady, reliable foundation of things like barley. It's the same deal with wheat. It wasn't just a grain. It became the centerpiece of daily life. The routine of making bread gave life a rhythm. It was a consistent, reliable source of energy that literally defined lifestyles. So let's shift over and see how this exact same principle works for our health. Ancient cultures were all about consistency over speed, something we seem to have completely forgotten. So for this, we're going to look at the olive, the fig, black seed, and garlic. These are perfect examples of this idea of slow, systematic health. Now this is fascinating. Look at the olive. The ancient view was that it was a system for long-term health. You planted an olive tree for your children, your grandchildren. It was a patient investment. But today, we just see it as a cooking oil. We throw it in a hot pan, burning away the very compounds that made it valuable in the first place. And it's the same story with black seed. It was never thought of as a quick fix. You'd use it consistently, in small amounts, to help your body just maintain its natural balance over time. It is the polar opposite of our "I want a pill to fix it now" mindset. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important idea. It's a really simple but powerful concept. True value often lies in what's necessary, not in what's special. I mean, think about the humble onion. It's been a staple in pretty much every cuisine for thousands of years. Nobody ever called it a luxury, but its value comes from the fact that it was always necessary. It was there, it was affordable, and it was the foundation of the meal. Honey is another perfect example of a system, not just a food. You can't have honey without the whole shebang. The bees, the right plants, a healthy environment, it all has to work together in harmony. It's an entire interconnected system that creates something that can actually heal. So here's the real takeaway. None of these plants are any less powerful today. An olive is still an olive. An onion is still an onion. Their value hasn't changed. What changed was our understanding of them and how we use them. Which, leads to a much bigger question for all of us. When you look at your own life, your health, your work, whatever, what's the difference between just kind of getting by and building a truly strong, resilient system? And maybe the answer is simpler than we think. It's not about chasing the next new thing, some secret life hack. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just finally understand the value of what was right in front of you all along. So as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Look around. What common, everyday system in your life have you been taking for granted that's just waiting for you to truly understand it?